This week on The Valley.
I made a big mistake in thinking.
Did you not cheat? Okay. Well, then I guess you just answer that question.
What do I have to do to make you?
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to We're going to be recapping The Valley Season 2, Episode 5. Let's get right into this. You guys, when I tell you this episode was cinematic drama from start to finish. I mean, my goodness, bravo, y'all really outdid yourselves with The Valley. The drama is out of this world. I was glued the entire episode, so let's talk about it. So the whole cast is still on their trip, being hosted by Jesse in Santa Barbara. Everybody's waking up. It's a brand new day. Jesse says that he was very triggered the night before based on how Michelle was acting and what she said. He even wanted to go home, but he's feeling better now. They were playing a game last night where you throw the ball at someone so that they can say something nice or something like that, but Michelle didn't say anything that he liked, which I don't like Michelle at all, but at the same time, Jesse, dude, stop it. Clearly she can't stand you. You gotta stop trying to force stuff. Like, why are you trying to even talk to her in the first place? Meanwhile, Brittany gets a message from Jax. Jax just told her that they figured that he wasn't depressed, he's actually bipolar. Now, you have to take what Jack says with a grain of salt, and obviously he still needs to be officially diagnosed, put on treatment. So for now, Brittany just doesn't want him to rage text her like he did the day before, because it was a lot. He becomes unhinged when he goes through these episodes. So then they head out. Jesse had organized a wine tasting, which that's a fun activity. So there's a party sprinter that picks them up and they all get there. Now Jesse's doing a little bit too much because they're going to a winery, but maybe he already began the drinking because he was acting wild. Okay, he was dancing, he was getting on the pole, he was twerking on people. Everybody was getting it, which, by the way, it looked like he had some practice giving some of those lap dances. The way he was moving was a little too, like, he knew what he was doing. So as they're driving, the driver has to pull over to the side of the road because there was smoke coming out of the front of the vehicle. They don't know what's going on. Luke was being super helpful. He got out there, he opened the front of the car, was helping the driver. Meanwhile, crazy Jesse is out there too, but he's not helping. He's acting like a hitchhiker, like a total weirdo. Anyway, they decide to go back to the nearest gas station, and then they got on some Ubers, and that's how they're going to get to the winery. By the way, remember, Danny the night before had to leave because he had a gig, like voice acting gig, so he left, but now he's on his way back. But Nia is on the phone with him, and we can't hear what he is saying, but she kind of like snaps at him. She says, "You need to listen to your wife," and everybody heard it, and they were kind of like, whoa. So like I said, they got on the Ubers, and they headed to the winery. It was a very nice place. It's a couple who owns this winery, so the group then sits, and they're going to try the wines. So they're trying the wine. Some of these people are a little bit more sophisticated than others, so they have a whole thing and, like, you gotta swirl it, you gotta sniff it, you gotta taste it. Brittany is laughing, talking about she swallows. She's a hot funny mess. Danny then gets there. He's back, and oh lord, we've already heard that how he gets with alcohol. So Danny in a wine tasting, it just feels like a bad idea. And he's doing the most. And I think he was trying to be funny also, which when I've noticed that when people, especially guys, like older guys, like when they're actually like trying to be funny, it's just so cringy. But nevertheless, he was drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking. And I was just like, oh boy. There's some conversations that are had. Jasmine and Melissa talk about how they met because Michelle had asked them. They've been together for 4 years. It's a long time. It seems like they really like each other. Janet then says, Zach, I need to tell you something. When we were not getting along, I did tell people that you wore a wig, which was funny. Zach laughed about it. Also, let me tell y'all, I really like Luke because he is quick with it. So Jesse made a comment about Monet, and I guess Luke didn't get the reference, and Jesse says to him, "You? No culture." And Luke is quick to say, "You? Not manly." Go ahead, Luke. Go ahead. So Michelle then gets a call from her daughter, and Jesse wants to talk too. So they go and sit at another table, not too far from the group. So Jesse and Michelle, they check up on each other. Jesse says that they need to have a serious conversation. So he asks Michelle, "Are you happy?" Michelle says, "I am happy except for you." Jesse says, "Okay, well, if you're so happy, then why can't you let me be happy in my relationship?" So that's when Michelle starts to get mad. By the way, I have to say, Michelle's grammar is horrible. And listen, I'm not perfect. My English is not perfect. It's my second language. But dang, Michelle can't talk. So Michelle is saying all sorts of things to him. "You're selfish. You're a disaster. Your girlfriend is threatening me." Which, it's threatening, Michelle. Please get it right. Jesse can't get a word in because Michelle's just so aggressive. And naturally, when somebody is coming at you, being aggressive and telling you you're selfish, you're this, you're that, you're going to snap back. So he says, "And you're a hooker." So Michelle gets up. She goes off on production. She says, "I'm not doing this." And then she screams at him, "I'm the mother of your effing child. You're a loser. You spend all of our money." Jesse says, "Well, speaking of money, let me pull this up." And everyone at the other table is hearing this because Michelle's just so loud. So they automatically all go to comfort Michelle. But Michelle then tells everyone that they have a friend who sent money to Isabella for her birthday and that Jesse took it and kept it. Michelle then says, "Why is a gay guy sending you money?" Okay, here we go. I don't like this sort of narrative that happens so frequently on Bravo shows. It's always the case that some guy is being accused of being gay. And first of all, I'm not gonna lie, the way she said it is a little questionable. Because what does a person being gay or straight have to do with money being sent? And it's just the implication that she's putting out there, and she knows what she's doing. Jesse says, "Oh, so if a gay guy sends me money, that's bad for Michelle?" Brittany is then getting involved, inserting herself unwarranted, but she is. She says, "Jesse, she's my friend. You need to apologize for calling her a hooker." Jesse says, "Oh, yes, of course, it's a lie. But I was so angry, so I just said it." It was a lot. So they end up going home after this. So they got home. Everybody's starving. Luckily, there's a chef cooking some food, and they said it smelled good. It looked good just by looking at it from the screen. By the way, Janet went to go grab something from the pantry, maybe like a snack or something, and she catched Danny chugging tequila in there. Like, I guess he thought nobody was gonna see him. Also, Jesse wants to talk to Michelle privately. So she goes to his room. He's very calm. He says, "Why aren't you happy for me?" Michelle says, "Why are you so obsessed with this woman? We have a child." So Michelle claims in her confessional that she thinks that Jesse is secretly upset that she has moved on. And he wants Michelle to acknowledge his happiness so that he can believe he's happy even though he isn't. Now that makes no sense to me. How does you not having a problem with the person that he's dating make him believe that he's happy when he's not? That is some dumbass logic. Like, it makes no sense. They're talking about the daughter, and Michelle has a problem with Jesse's girlfriend spending time with the daughter. Jesse says to her, "I think you're a liar, and I think you're a cheater." He then says, "Did you not admit it to me?" And she says, "Yes, I did admit I kissed someone." So then she's calling him names again, calling him a piece of ish. He says to her, "You're the only lying, cheating whore that I know." Ooh, she again screams at the top of her lungs, "Look at you, I made a mistake." And he's saying to her, "Did you or did you not cheat?" She then finds a cup that has a drink in it and throws it to his face. And then she's acting like an insane person, going down the stairs screaming, "Everybody, my husband never hugged me or told me I was pretty. He spent all of our money." These people are crazy. I don't know how they even have friends, to be honest with y'all. Okay, so in the meantime, Danny is dead. He is passed out drunk. He's sleeping like a baby. They cannot wake him up for nothing. So it's a little later and it's time for dinner, but because Danny is too deep in his sleep, he's not going. So Janet, being the messy person that she is, obviously telling people that she caught him chugging alcohol in secret. So there's obviously a problem. Like, we can't deny that Danny and alcohol just don't mix well. So everyone's here. They're having their food, enjoying it. Brittany is on her phone checking up on what Jax is texting her. Jason asks Nia if he should go get Danny, and she's like, no, he's just tired. He's sleeping. Kristen then decides to play a game. She was very quiet this whole trip, and, for Kristen, that's a good thing. So her game is, why don't we all go around and say who our hall pass is? Jason said his hall pass is Lady Gaga, and then Luke said that his hall pass was the Little Mermaid. What? No, they all said, why is a cartoon character your hall pass? But he might have been talking about Halle Bailey. We never know. So Nia then says that she doesn't have a hall pass. They don't have a hall pass, her and Danny, because her and Danny actually run into a lot of celebrities. So yeah, they're not going to have hall passes, which actually makes a lot of sense. So Nia then goes back inside. She claims that she's cold, but she's very much concerned and not okay with the state of Danny. And listen, I like Nia, but she's definitely the type of person who will try and act like everything is perfectly buttoned up with rainbows and butterfly stickers. I get it. That's just how she is. So as she went inside, Brittany, Jasmine, and Janet are mad at this, though. They're saying, Nia should be open. Brittany says, I have to open up about everything that I do. Why can't she? And let me say, I get both sides. I see their concern. Yes, of course you want someone who's going to be genuine. Nia can be pretentious, of course. But at the same time, is she wrong for not wanting to dog her husband or embarrass him in front of everybody else? No, she's not. Also, I gotta say, I'm very proud of Kristen for sticking up for Nia, because Jasmine, Brittany, and Janet were saying all this crap about Nia when Nia walked away. So they were really talking behind her back. So anyway, Zach eventually goes back inside as well, and he pulls Nia to his room to tell her that he heard what everybody was saying when she walked off. He said the girls are mad. They're saying that you want to play perfect and don't want to admit that Danny's drunk. And Nia says, well, who said that? Was it Janet? And Zach's like, no, it was Brittany, Jasmine, and Janet. And when it comes to Zach and Brittany, yes, they're friends, but he doesn't have as much loyalty to Brittany, especially given the fact that he now knows that it was actually Brittany who was behind telling Janet what he had said that was so terrible. So, yeah, that's why he said it. So Nia's like, okay, let's go. So they're going to another room, but on their way there, they can hear Brittany talking about this situation. She's just so loud. And it was crazy because her and Jasmine, they're yapping about this. Meanwhile, Nia is hearing it all. So once Nia and Zach actually walk in, Brittany says, I don't want to talk about anything. And Nia says, well, what do you want me to talk about? Brittany says, you don't want to talk about Danny being drunk. And Nia's like, he is. Yeah, he is drunk. Brittany says, well, you didn't say that earlier. I'm going through so much. And Nia says, okay, so just because you are going through so much means that you can attack me? Tell me, what else do you want me to do? What else do you want me to say? And Brittany is just screaming, talking about, I'm going through so much. My husband's in rehab. And that was the end of the episode. Now, let me say, Brittany, just because your husband's in rehab and you're going through a hard time and your life is miserable, doesn't mean that everyone else has to be miserable too, sweetie. That's first of all. When it comes to Jasmine, I can understand her concern with Danny because he was very inappropriate, not just with her, but with his girlfriend. So I get it. Janet is just a messy person. So it is what it is. I'm not mad at Nia. Yes, Nia, you're a little fake, but at the same time, I get it. You're protecting your man, and I have no issue with it. Last thing that I gotta say about this episode, Michelle drives me insane. And I don't know why Jesse isn't throwing a party to celebrate the fact that he's not with this woman anymore. I mean, this woman is unbearable, and he is too. Neither one of them is a victim. They're both toxic, but I can only talk based on what we've seen on the show, she is a mess. And I would not want to be anywhere near her. But anyway, you guys, this was this week's episode. I'm telling y'all, I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was such a good episode. I can't wait for next week. But y'all, let me know what your thoughts and opinions were. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.